Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's time for February's mission inspiration. So the prompt for February, I decided to do away with the traditional hearts and flowers and romance and love themed prompt for we always seem to get for February, and instead I've taken a trip to the dark side. So for the prompt for February, it is whispers and shadows. So your theme is secrets, intuition and the unseen. It's those liminal spaces, the bits in between the light and the dark, that little twilight zone area. So your ingredients to include are the colours indigo or midnight blue. Use the use of silhouettes or shadowy shapes. It can be anything really. A key or lock imagery, tissue paper, vellum or acetate. Now I tried to find some acetate this morning. I've run out. Must have used the last one ages ago, but never mind. I do have tissue paper, which I'm going to use. And a snippet of poem or a song lyric. So there we go. So that is the prompts for February. So to start off with then, I have got some tissue paper. So I'm going to put my art journal to one side because this might get a little bit messy. Now then, what did I do with my kitchen roll? There it is, it's right in front of me. And I need more than that. Right, I'm going to have to go get some more. Back in a tick. Okay, so we've got another roll. It's absolutely teeming down with rain up there, so you might be able to hear it on the roof again. I know some of you say you like the sound of the rain on the roof. I think another couple of sheets and that should do us. So seeing as this is the first art journal page I've done in at least it feels like a fortnight, because I've been backwards and forwards to the hospital with Ian, and now that he's home, just basically running around doing stuff as you do when people are poorly. Right, so first thing I want to do is I want to measure the sheet of tissue paper that I've got. So, because things are going to get a bit wet, which is why I've got all that kitchen towel down. So let's just tear a piece of this. Like so, and then we'll just turn that round a little, just so I've got that about there. I'm just taking the edges off. I'd already started on that one. That should do. About there to there to there, and then just a little bit off that edge there. I'm just trying to soften the edges. Don't want to go too mad. Right, that should do us. What do we think? Yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. So the reason I've put all this kitchen towel down is because, like I said, things are going to start getting a bit wet, because I'm going to start spritzing and spraying with some colours. Right, so I have some indigo blue colours here. These are the Eco Vivid inks. So we have mallard blue, okay, and then we have one they call Little John, and then just to darken things up a little bit, I've got one called Woad Blue. Indigo Blue don't have an indigo in the they didn't. They do now. Unfortunately, I haven't got any of the indigo just yet because it's brand new. They haven't given me any yet. I know, I'm just a poor relation. What can I say? And then just to kind of like darken it back up again, I've got some Sheriff of Nottingham. Oh, I haven't even opened this one. Well, there you go. Obviously I don't use black very often. So that's the Sheriff of Nottingham. And of course, now that I live... Did you see that? Obviously the lid's not on properly. Now that I live in Nottinghamshire, I live in Robin Hood country. I think I may have a faulty one. I'll have to just keep an eye on that. I hope I've not got black ink all over my trews. Right, so now we want some water. Now, bearing in mind that we're using tissue, and tissue tends to go very kind of delicate. Excellent. When it gets wet, a lot of this is soaked right the way through, so I'm going to lift it and then drop it back down and then tap down with my fingers, get a bit hands-on. And then get the heat gun and give it a really, really good blast. All right, so it's been, probably took me about 10 minutes to dry that piece of tissue paper right back. Now then, because the indigo blue vivid inks are water-based, they're not permanent when dry, so you can still add more water to this to get them going a bit more. Now when we glue this down using the matte medium, that will happen. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Right, so let's grab some of that matte medium. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coat of it straight down onto the page. I need a biggish brush. That one will do. So I don't mind if some of the edges stick up a little bit for this, but you know, I'm not going to be too precious. And then we'll just stick that down as near to the middle as I can get it, I think. And I'm just going to be very, very gentle. And I'm going to brush outwards from the centre. And can you see how it's started to activate around the edge? I've got some on my finger as well. And that kind of blends and softens that edge a little. Now, once this dries, theoretically, that should have been sealed in. Lovely, lovely. Right, let's dry it off. So the trick with knowing when your matte medium is dry is that it stops being shiny with it being matte. So if your matte medium is still shining, it means it's still wet. Because like I said, it's all in the name. And I'm just taking off those excess pieces just from the edge of the page. There we go, just to kind of keep it all together. So like I said, that should theoretically have sealed that in now, but I am just going to go over one more time just to kind of make doubly sure. And then just give it a once over again with the heat gun. And of course, with me only using the matte medium on the bottom, I have got some wrinkles in it, which is fine. There we go, so we have got a little bit more, which is fine. It just adds more texture to the background. Okay, so look at that texture. Look at that. Absolutely love it. Right, so this is the experimental stencil I've been working on recently, just for this page, and this is it. So it does look like a shadowy figure. That was the original drawing. That's now been translated into a stencil. Now I had the thought about releasing this, but it is kind of an acquired taste. It's a bit love it or hate it, I should imagine. So let me know if it's a stencil that you think you might be interested in. Now I'm going to pounce with this, and I'm going to do it very, very gently because it is a delicate stencil, and I can go back over it quite a few times, and I'm making sure that I'm working the paint into my blending tool to make sure that I'm not getting it too wet, not too wet and not too dry. Now there is still a little bit of that colour coming through. Now all that will do, the blue colour that is, now all that will do, it'll just soften the white. It'll just soften and make it not quite so stark. If you really wanted stark colour, then what I would advise doing is maybe going over with one of those Versamark embossing inks, and then maybe sprinkling with embossing powder and then heating it if you wanted a real stark colour. But I don't. I just want a hint. I've got a bit too much on there, but just nice and easy does it. And like I said, I can always come back and add more if I want it lighter. As we've said it without journaling so many times, you can always add, you can never take away. So we'll do the dance, back and forth, back and forth. Get rid of any lumps that seem to be. Come on, I've got a little bit of a lump there. Gotcha. Let's blend that away. A little bit more. And then you can wait if you really want, and then let it dry. Leave your stencil in place, and then come back later. But I think for the purposes of this, that should do us. Yeah, happy with that. Definitely happy with that. Not necessarily happy with that there, but that doesn't matter. That's all right. It still gives us that kind of ethereal figure in that foreground, and as it kind of starts to blend, it kind of takes on the colour from the outside, that kind of shade. So I will give that a bit of a blast with the old heat gun, and then I'll be back. Alright, so I do want to kind of soften that background a little bit more, so I'm just going to take some more of that white gesso and then just add some splatters into the background. Grab a little bit of white paint. Just make sure I'm using water and not alcohol. And again, these will take on some of the colour. But it does soften. Makes it a tad more ethereal. Lovely. Grab another wet wipe. If I can get hold of it, there we go. And then first things to do is to do my fingers and then do my worktop. So you can see now that it's already started to take on some of that colour. Even though we sealed it with the matte medium, it is still taking in a little bit of that colour and blending into that background, which is just perfect. Alright, so knowing our colours, if I add any yellows into that now, they will go green and possibly disappear. So literally the only colours we can really use now are just more whites, which I will do in a little while. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to grab a pen, a black pen, and I've got one of the Uniball Ocean Care pens. So this is the Uniball Eye Ocean Care, 75% recycled plastics, including 10% from ocean waste. Now what I want to do with this is I just want to go around the edge here, and I just want to kind of reinforce that kind of line that we did, but not in any great kind of detail. Just want to break it up. Just to outline a little. Just sort of make it pop. And just reinforce those kind of shapes a little that we're getting. Like these kind of fingers. And then where it's kind of like splodged out of the way, we can just kind of cut that off. There we go, that's kind of just reinforced that shape a little bit now. So I'm a bit more happier with that. Now I want to add some more kind of stenciling into the background. So just give me a sec and I just need to grab the stencil that I'm thinking of. Alright, so I've given that enough time to kind of dry, and I found the stencil that I want. It was the Vintage Combo stencil, and it's this kind of circular kind of roundly chicken wiry kind of design.
I think it looks like DNA, or not DNA, like the way you have chemical symbols and the little numbers come off them. Structures, whatever they're called.
And there's a voice from the ether.
Good afternoon, or good morning, good evening, everyone.
Hey.
Thank you for all the kind wishes. I'm out and about.
So yes, Mr. Ian's come to visit.
I've been posting on Facebook pictures of some stuff that I've built, just answering some customer questions. Yeah, it's raining, so I'm not going out.
So yes, it's filthy out there, isn't it?
Horrible.
Yeah, it really is not nice at all. So yes, so this is the first time in over a week you've ventured out into your work shed, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's over a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like bones.
They do little,
They look like little bones. I'm just going to put a little bit down here, and then I'm trying not to overdo it because I still need to add in some other little motifs first, but I just wanted to add a little bit more kind of like background texture into that. So that was the vintage combo. We could do some text in there as well, but could have used that as the ethereal figure.
We've got lots of different options, haven't we?
Absolutely.
It's all about options.
It's all about options, yes. Right, so I'll just give that a quick clean up, and I'll just dry that off with my heat gun. And bearing in mind, I have used the white gesso again, so once again that will dye back into the background and turn a little bit blue, just like all the other bits that are in there. So back in a little while. And just as quickly he arrived, he's disappeared off again. Right, so Posca pens. I've just given this one a really good shake up. So Posca pens, for Christmas, Ian bought me these, which I haven't opened yet, but there's some lovely, lovely colours in there. Look, beautiful ones. Now apparently these are pretty much the same as Posca pens. Like I said, I haven't really used them just yet, but I will get onto it. I will share my findings. These were from a very inexpensive Holmes store that you get bargains from here in the UK. It's got the word bargain and the word home in it. So, right. So what I want to do now is I want to start adding in just a couple of repeated motifs. Like keyhole shapes. Just kind of hanging in the background like that, because we've got key or lock imagery, and that's what I want to kind of add here. And all I'm doing is just creating some circles with a kind of triangle towards the bottom. I'll do a couple of large ones first. Just replenish the colour on the nib. And again, because we're using acrylic, it will take on that kind of blue colour from the background. Right, we can start making smaller ones now. Keyhole shapes. It's a kind of repeated meme. Do we like that word, meme? Don't know. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Just put a few kind of like keyhole shapes. Just as, like I said, a repeated motif, just kind of floating around the page. More over here. Bum, 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 come on there. Maybe a small one over here. Maybe another small one down here. Yeah, that'll do, I think. That will give us what we want. So let me get those dried off. All right, and I want that black pen again. Did I put it away? Yes, no, just left it on there. So, talking of memes, that's just reminded me while I've been drying that off. I think that was at one of the alien races that the Doctor encountered in Doctor Who, the appearance of the repeated meme. About one of the very, very early Doctor Who episodes from the new ones when it started in 2005. I think it was the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, and obviously Rose Tyler. At the same time, I think they introduced the Forest of Cheam as a race as well, along with Lady Cassandra, voiced by Zoe Wanamaker. There we go. So we're just going to outline those keys just to make them pop a little bit more. And I think we're nearly there. So we've definitely got the indigo blue. We've definitely got the silhouette or shady shapes. We've got key, we've got tissue. So it's just a snippet of poem or song title, which I printed from earlier on today. So what I didn't do though, and I used ChatGPT, which is an AI thing, to pick the quote for me. I said, can you find me a quote that includes the word lock and hope? And it came back with, hope unlocks the doors, fear tries to steal. I forgot to ask where it came from. I should have said, where does that quote come from? Is it from a book? Is it from a song? So, hey ho. So we'll now just flip that over, put some glue on it. I can find my glue. So I know those of you that love Halloween or love spooky stuff, this month is going to be right up your street. If you don't, well, I'm sorry, but we can't please all the people all the time. But I'm sure you can come up with something. If you want to do reds and pinks and you want to do hearts and that kind of stuff, then substitute the hearts instead of the locks and the keys, and instead of the ethereal figure you could always use people or even heart shapes if you really wanted to. Just adapt and utilize. Just take it as inspiration, which is what it's supposed to be. It's not prescriptive. Just do your own thing. So you can still use tissue, vellum or acetate. Instead of the silhouettes or shadowy shapes, use hearts if you want to. And instead of blues or indigos, use reds and pinks if you really want to. So there we go. So that is my art journal page for January. It's not January, it's February. I was just checking to see whether or not I actually signed them, which I did do. So MDA in my little lozenge. And I'll put today's date, and I'm doing this on the Friday, so it's the 6th of the 2nd, 26. There you go. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this Whispers and Shadows art journal page for February 2026's Mission Inspiration Art Challenge and prompts. So don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. You can share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And if you haven't joined us over in our Mission Inspiration Facebook group just yet, then what are you waiting for? There on screen is the URL. All you have to do, there will be a clickable link below the video too, a link below the video. Just click the link and then ask to join the group. And you too can have a go at doing your art journal page based on the prompts, and you can share that with all of the thousands that are in the group. About 5,000 people just about now in the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. So yeah, pop across. It's a fabulous, creative and supportive community. So that's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.